right, so WNBA star Brittney Griner was finally released from a Russian prison, traded for a man who's known as the Merchant of Death. That sounds frightening. We'll get to that later. But hey, Brittney Griner, she is an American athlete. Everyone is, of course, thrilled that she was finally released when she was convicted of really trumped up charges. Trump and charges in the same sentence sounds really good. And that's great. Everyone should be really happy, obviously. Oh wait, actually, not everyone is happy about this. Conservatives, a lot of conservatives, maybe most conservatives, aren't happy about it. And there's a variety of reasons why. Now the biggest complaint I hear is, why was she released instead of Paul Whelan, who has also been a prisoner for several years in Russia? So there's a lot to unpack here. So Brittney Griner was arrested because she had a gram of, I believe it was like a marijuana vape. I may not have the details on that specific thing quite down, but she was convicted of a lot more than that and sentenced to 9 years in prison, including being sent to a prison that the conditions are basically like a slave labor camp. Now, Whelan, on the other hand, he was arrested for espionage. Now, he didn't do it. Again, another trumped up charge on the part of Russia. Not real shocking there. He's been there for quite a while. So, conservatives are mad. Why didn't they get him back? Now, don't get me wrong. I think it's fine to be upset that they didn't get him back too. I mean, it's horrible that any U.S. citizen is stuck in a Russian prison, especially when the charges are BS, frankly. It's terrible. But why are they so upset that it's her and not him? Let's imagine something for a second. Let's imagine that Brittney Griner, who is a black woman and a lesbian, looked like this. Okay, now ignore the fact that that's the former president's daughter, okay? Pretend that that is not the case. We're just saying she looks like this. Would conservatives still be mad that she got released instead? I really, really highly doubt it. Now, there's other reasons why they're mad. For one, the trade. A guy called the Merchant of Death, who was one of the most prolific arms dealers that Russia had, who was, I believe, number 2 on the FBI's most wanted list under bin Laden, or at least that's what his claim was. Not a good guy. Obviously, I'm worried about that too. I don't know what this guy's going to be up to. I will say this though. Since that man was arrested, I'm pretty sure if Russia wanted to deal arms to terrorist organizations, they probably didn't stop. They probably kept right on going. I don't know if him coming out is going to actually change that. I don't know if it's going to cause an uptick or not. It's hard to say. But that being said, no one was going to get out without that trade. Apparently, Putin's been talking about that guy, the Merchant of Death guy, getting released for years and years and years. So that was what was going to have to happen. Now, it's been several months since I first heard that Putin was willing to trade Griner for the Merchant of Death. That's been going on for a while, but the negotiations have continued, which makes the next part of this confusing, because conservatives say that Biden had the choice to trade for either Brittney Griner or Whelan. Okay, take this with a grain of salt. I have a family member who's very far to the right of me, okay? I don't know all the specifics, and it doesn't matter. She was saying that Andrea Mitchell, who is a reporter for NBC, had stated that she had a source saying that there was in fact a choice. Now, that flies in the face of common sense, given how long the trade we got has been on the table. And I tried to search for evidence of this, and my family member said that it had been scrubbed and they'd changed their story since, which, look, I don't know. It could be true. I can't keep track of everything in the 24-hour news cycle on any channel. It's too much. I did find a clip of her talking about the trade. It wasn't the one that I was hoping to find, but in it, she talked about how she was very close with the Whelan family, and she was visibly upset at how this trade went down. Now, I don't want to besmirch her journalistic integrity, but she is human. Could she have messed up this detail? I don't know, maybe. That's the only place that I've heard that idea coming from. Also, worth noting that when I did search for the evidence of this, the only thing I could find was Tucker Carlson talking about it. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean it's untrue, but if Tucker Carlson tells me that the sky is blue, I'm going to run outside to make sure that the sky hasn't changed color, because generally whatever that man says is not likely to be correct. But maybe he was. I don't know if he just make up out of whole cloth something that another, a colleague in the same profession as him had said. I don't know. We'll hope not. Let's say that that's a possibility. Why is she the worst choice than Wayland? I mean, there was a lot more pressure to bring her back. That's for sure. Incredible pressure. And while she didn't serve in the military, which you could say, well, that would make Wayland the better choice, he also was ousted from the military due to a larceny charge, which that is a matter of court and public record. Now, I'm not saying that he hasn't paid his debt or anything like that. I'm not saying he shouldn't be released again, but that at least ties things up, right? So why is one better than the other? Again, I think that it's Brittney Griner does not look like Ivanka Trump at all. Brittney Griner is not married to a man like Ivanka Trump. I think that's part of it too. And I'm not just making this up out of my head, because let's face it, the Republican Party is doing all kinds of things to hurt both of those groups that Brittney Griner belongs to. I mean, they have for a long time, but now they're just open about it. That being said, look, if people are mad that Wayland wasn't released, again, I get that. That's fine. I don't want anyone to be stuck over there. I really don't. Here's where it gets a little tougher though. See, he's been in prison over there for several years now, including during the Trump administration. And they weren't mad at all that Donald Trump didn't try to get him out. In fact, Donald Trump did release a prisoner back to Russia, Maria Butina. And what he got in exchange, what he demanded was nothing. Nothing. He asked for nothing in return. He just released her back to Russia while Wayland sat in jail. And at least as far as we can tell, Biden was at least trying to get Wayland back. So I would understand if these same conservatives were upset with Trump back in the day that he didn't help get him released. Then I would be like, okay, yeah, no, you're definitely still mad about this one person, but heard not a peep. And while they're saying they're upset about the Merchant of Death getting released by Biden, again, I get that on its own. In a vacuum, that makes total sense. I get that. There was not this outrage when Trump released 5,000 Taliban members. Where was that? It wasn't here. Didn't happen. There was no outrage on the right. So all this outrage now, because they didn't bring back someone who the right didn't really care about before, who could have been negotiated to be brought back before, but it wasn't even tried. Versus now, Biden did try, and he's promised to keep trying. It, at least on the surface, looks like he could have secured the deal to trade Brittney Griner for the Merchant of Death months ago, and has been negotiating since. Why? Like, were they trying to decide what outfit she was going to wear home? Seems like maybe he was trying to get more out of the deal. I mean, I don't know. I'm not in those rooms, obviously, but it had to be something. There's no reason for it not to be. It looks far better for Biden to bring her home faster rather than slower. So then what else could he have been negotiating for? So there's two reasons, to summarize, why Republicans or conservatives are mad that this trade didn't happen for Wayland and Griner. One, literally it doesn't matter what Biden does. It doesn't matter what he does. They will complain and rage about it. If he ran into a burning building and saved them from it, they would probably accuse him of, I don't know, trying to spread the smoke they inhaled out into the rest of the world by bringing them out of it. It would be something insane and ridiculous, because it literally doesn't matter what he does. If you doubt me, if you doubt that they will make a conspiracy or a scandal out of nothing, remember how they made a big deal about Obama wearing a beige suit? Like, he wasn't wearing an I'm with stupid shirt, he was wearing a beige suit, and they made it seem like it was gonna cause World War III. Crazy. It doesn't matter what the Democratic president does, Republicans will make a scandal out of it. And if there's nothing there, they'll simply create something Hunter Biden's laptop. The other reason, again, she is a black woman who is a lesbian, and the Republican Party at large has proven again and again and again that they don't like those things. And that's it. That's why conservatives are mad about the Brittney Griner trade. So that's upsetting. I hope any of you watching have a good day. And just remember, if you keep leaning left, you'll always be right.